Hello, this is Wilma Tacos, and welcome to another Stories from Sector 8 video. In this video, or in today's game, my lizardmen, my Seraphon, as it were, wander blindly into a forest and meet some very unfriendly natives, and it doesn't go well. Today I played Fantasy, and I played my Seraphon because they're all I have, and I got to play against Wood Elves, and them Wood Elves were very unhappy that I was messing around in their forest. I did not win. I won't say it was a total loss, but I wouldn't call it close. I know the guy who plays the Wood Elves. He's a guy who's always been in the area and played Fantasy, and I caught up with him and I told him I play Fantasy now, and if he would show up, that we would be able to play Fantasy. I told him what I had. That was that the starting box and the one wizard I had bought, and I told him that beforehand, but I'm not entirely sure it clicked, because when he showed up to play today, the day that I'm recording this, he was very surprised and a little disappointed when I told him I only had like 22 models to play with. So that made him a little sad, but it's, I told him beforehand it's what I had. So he brought he played Wood Elves, and he way more than doubled me, but there's a lot that I need to explain in this video. This video is going to have a lot more involved in it than the last video. Okay, so first things first was the game type. He has a rule book called the General's Handbook, which is a rule book for Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And I'm a little fuzzy on details and terms right now because I am almost head desk slammingly tired. So bear with me here. He has the General's Handbook, which has a bunch of stuff in it, but one of the things it has in it are rule scenarios, game scenarios, different games that you can play, well, like game settings and everything, victory conditions, that sort of thing within the Age of Sigmar rules. Normally in Age of Sigmar, there's a thing called the sudden death victory, which says if you have 1/3 more than your opponent, 1/3 models more than your opponent gets to pick a sudden death victory from a sudden death victory chart, and that's usually things like kill a single unit, and they can win the game. So it's the way that you can. Because Age of Sigmar has no point cost. It's how you try to balance people who bring a lot of stuff. Because if you bring a lot of stuff, it's likely all your opponent needs to do is kill one unit in order to win. Now, the game, he picked a certain mission from the General's Handbook, and I'll go on the record and say it screwed me. It screwed me pretty hard, and I'm fairly sure I would have won if he had picked just the standard open play, which is just the standard thing where you just kill each other. I'm fairly sure I would have won if he had not picked that mission type, and I won't say he picked it specifically to mess me up, but it certainly did not do me any favors. In fact, it really hurt me. I brought 22 models. I think it's 22. It should be 22. I brought 12 Saurus Guard, and I brought 8 of my Saurus Knights, which is the Cavalry Riders, and I brought the Carnosaur, and that's just the standard box. That's what I've had before. And today I was able to play my Star Priest, which is 1 model, so that's 22 total. Or is it 21? It's 22. It's 22. So 12 guard, 8 knights, one general monster, and the one wizard priest. He brought what I believe was 44, and I can't give names. I don't know the names of his units at all. I can only describe them. He brought 44. So he outnumbered me. So the 1/3 rule was in effect. But here's where things get a little different from the other Age of Sigmar games. We were playing that special game type, and in that game type, the mission conditions are as such. You have the 2 players opposing off. One player is order. The other player is corruption. And normally you have to roll off. You roll off, and then whoever picks higher gets to pick one of them. Corruption is, or not corruption, order is just better than corruption. You want order. If you roll off and you roll higher, you're going to pick order. It's the better one. Instead of the sudden death victory chart, if your opponent has 1/3 more models than you, you don't roll. Your opponent, who has less, just gets to pick order. So right off the bat, I got order, he got corruption. Alright? Here's what they do. In the center of the table, there is what they call the storm. It's basically, just imagine in your mind a little dust devil. This dust devil starts off in the dead center of the table. Just dead center. Based on events that happen, it will move one way or the other. It'll move towards your opponent's table edge, or it'll move towards your own table edge. You want it as far from your own table edge as possible, because this little dust devil that cuts the table right in half determines who owns more of the table. And if at any point, if the little tornado reaches your opponent's side of the board, you win. That means you own the entire table, and you automatically win. Well, if the little tornado is on either side of the, it's not dead center, if it's on either side, whoever controls more of the board, which is separated in half, gets to use their corruption or their order ability. The corruption ability is the enemy is -2 bravery, which is like your morale and your leadership, which really didn't affect me all that bad, because I'm already leadership 10 on everything. I'm already bravery 10, so it didn't really have an effect on me. Here's the thing. The order one is supposed to be better. The order special rule, which I get to activate if I own more of the table, is I can bring in a unit of no more than 10 dudes. It can be anything I want, and it's absolutely free. Sounds great, right? A free summon. You're just going to bring in 10 dudes, any 10 dudes you want. The problem is, my 12 Stars guard, or my 12 Stars knight, 12 guard, 8 knights, the Carnosaur, and the priest, are all I have. And they're all on the table. So, in my first initial turns, if I was ahead, I get to summon nothing. Nothing. I don't get to bring anything in. And by the time I started losing dudes to bring in more, they start all the way on your other table edge. And we were all the way on the other side of the field. They would have done nothing. So, he gets to bring more dudes than me. Way more dudes than me. More than double me. No, less than double, but almost double. He was 4 shy. I believe he was 44, he said, and I was 20. No. Yeah, no, he was double. Straight up double, because I'm 22. He was 44. He was 100% double. 100% double. He gets to make double the normal amount of dudes. If he's winning, he gets to reduce my bravery by 2, and I get nothing. I get nothing. I lose. Good day, sir. I get no advantage. Nothing. If we had fought on my side of the table, which is not going to happen from a Wood Elf player, I might have been able to bring in more dudes and have them reach combat, but no, didn't happen. So right off the bat, I am at a significant disadvantage. I told you what I had. What did he have? He had 2 units of Wood Elf archers. I don't know any of these names. You'll have to forgive me. I'm sorry. He had 2 dudes of archers. He had a single wizard. He had a general. He had a unit of glade warriors. I don't know what they're called. And he had a unit, I think he called them war dancers. And there are like 5 war dancers. And he had a unit of 5 men of horse cavalry. They were Wood Elf horse cavalry. So, the dancers, the 5 dancers and the 5 elven cavalry didn't start on the table. They have an ability where they get to come in on the side of the table. I let him go first because I wanted him to move forward to me, because his archers are only range 20 and there's a 24-inch zone in between the players when the game starts. So if he wanted to not move, he couldn't shoot me. So he had to come closer to me, which is what I wanted before my turn 1 when I move forward and attack him. His 5 horses come in directly behind me, and his 5 dancers come in directly beside me. My 8 knights, my eight mounted cavalry, assault the 5 horses and completely wipe them. They're on there, just one assault gone. My my 12 Saurus Guard assaulted the 5 Dancers. And in the assault, 10 out of 12 died, and I didn't kill a single one. So now there's 5 of those guys left, all completely strong. Nothing bad happened to them. They didn't lose a single dude, and I've got 2 of those guard left from a unit of 12. I tell me, they hit like a son of a gun. And my Carnosaur, my general, my monster did nothing, and my priest was just casting buffs. It is at this point that I'm pointing this out for this game. The Wood Elf player calls my army overpowered. He calls them overpowered several times because of all the insane buffs that my Seraphon were doing at the time. My command ability says whenever I declare a Saurus unit, and whenever I roll a 6 to hit with any weapon, I get to make another attack. This stacks forever as far as the rules say. So if I roll another 6, I add another attack. If that rolls a 6, I add another attack. In addition, they had a blessing on them from the Seraphon, from the Star Priest, that said if they roll a 6 to wound with any of their jaws or bites, they get to do double the normal amount of damage. So any 6s I rolled were basically like the best. And he was very upset because I was doing these buffs all over the place. His archers were firing away. They have this, both of his archer units are 10. They have this once per game thing where they can shoot AP3 arrows. And they both did this on my big monster, who was only a 4-up save, or rending 3 I should call it. It was a 4-up save, and because they're rending 3, I get no save. So any wounds he deals, my monster just had to take. Here's where things get a little more interesting. The next turns, the turns go by, and my turn comes up again eventually. My 8 guard on the back, who went behind me, behind myself to get those knights who came up from behind me, or his mounted cavalry, now have to move completely in the opposite direction as fast as they can to get into a combat. So they just move forward. They move forward 14 with war drums and do nothing else. The 2 remaining Saurus Guard, when there were 12 there, and only 2 of them were out of range, so when there were 10 there doing attacks, killed not a one of those War Dancers. The 2 remaining Saurus Guard wipe out all 5. All 5 of them dead. The 2 Saurus Guard stand there, look at each other, wonder what the hell just happened, and then move forward triumphantly as the Wood Elf player begins screaming even louder that my army is overpowered. Eventually, through time, my Saurus Guard and the Carnosaur and the Star Priest, all 3 of them together, there was 2 Saurus Guard left, so 2 Saurus Guard, the Carnosaur, and the Priest, assault one of his units of archers. And the way I assaulted in, his general was in 3 inches of my Priest, so his general was able to move into combat and attack. Because that's how it works in fantasy, apparently. Age of Sigmar. I didn't question it. I believe it. It just seems a little weird. Anyways, moving on from that. I assaulted his archers, and the Carnosaur immediately begins doing what the Carnosaur does. It's got 6 wounds on it by this point. By the time it saw combat, it's already got 6 wounds on it. So it's already at half effectiveness. It's not doing a lot. But it does enough that it and the guard, the Saurus Guard, over the course of 2 turns, are able to kill the rest of those archers. Now, his general moves in and just kills my Star Priest. Just boom, kills my Star Priest. My Star Priest is dead. It's not surprising, but my Star Priest doesn't have a range profile, and if he just stands there, he's getting shot to death by archers. So I figured he might as well get in combat and do something. Star Priest is dead. My turn comes up, and my 8 guard assault into the combat with the general, and there's exactly 4 Wood Elf archers left. The Carnosaur goes first and kills the archers, and then the knights go. Because he attacked with his general, and he did his attacks. His general did his attacks on. Oh, I don't remember who they did it on, but I think they did it on some. The general attacked somebody and didn't do very well. My knights go, and they completely kill his general. My 8 knights swarm and hound and just rip his general apart. His general goes from, I think he had a bunch of hit points. His general had a bunch of hit points, and it dropped. It's dead. He's upset. He says that's game. Yeah, that he's lost at that point because he's upset that his general's dead. His turn comes up. My general dies. His archers shoot my connoisseur. It's dead. So both our generals are dead. His glaive unit, the units with the glaives, I don't know their name, I'm sorry, assault in to my 8 guard, and they have an ability called like Fortress of Blades or something like that, where if they don't move, they get +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and +1 to saves. So that means there are 3 up to hit, 3 up to wound, with a 4 up save. And they, over the course of the game, kill the one remaining Saurus guard and all the remaining knights. And at the end of the game, he's got 4 or 5 left of his glaive guard remaining, with a completely unscathed unit of archers sending off in the distance who are just shooting. I look at him, and this is what I tell him. I tell him, I had fun, and don't get the wrong impression from me, but you offend me when you call my army overpowered and then win against me with a unit not even scathed, not even having a single dude dead. And he nodded and acknowledged that he was kind of overreacting, and it's fine. It's completely fine. Just, if my army was overpowered in 3 games, I'd like to have won one of them. Hasn't happened yet. It will happen eventually. This game was not nearly as close as the game I had against the Stormcast, but closer than what it was against the demons, because he only had 5 or so remaining of those glaive guards left, and by people watching admission, he was rolling really well with those glaive guard. It was said that if those glaive guard hadn't done as well as they did, and my knights were able to live through that combat and assault his archers would crumble. I don't know, but what I do know is how it actually went down, and how it actually went down is his glaive guard with 3 ups and 3 ups and a 4 up save were able to take down the knights, and I didn't have anything left, and he had an archer unit completely unscathed. And if you're playing, if we're playing a game and you have a unit that takes no damage, it's not close. It's not close. And if it's not close, I don't really think like you have the, if I don't completely crush you, I'm not overpowered. And if you don't completely crush me, you're not overpowered. That's overpowered means you're overpowered. You crush, you dominate. He didn't crush me. I would not go as far to say he crushed me. I think I said that at the start of this video. But it was a definitive win, you know. He still had a unit unscathed. Now, if his glaive guards or whatever were unscathed, I'd say he completely crushed me. But I could have possibly won that. But his army is not overpowered, and I don't think either of us are in the right place to call my army overpowered. I only have a connoisseur, a star priest, and the knight and guard. Maybe when I get other things, there might be individual units that are overpowered. I think every army has certain things like that, even in 40k, where some units are just better than others. One of the things I already have coming is a unit of Kroxagar, and Kroxagar, just looking at their war scroll are going to be amazing. But it was a very fun game. I got shot to death by archers in the forest who told me I'm in the wrong part of the forest, and I'm wearing the wrong colors, which is not green. And they were very territorial and hostile, and I said at the time, for the Wood Elves who are supposed to love nature, this might be putting down a bad dog, just to horribly slaughter these poor lizards. And it wasn't a horrible slaughter. I said that at the start of the game that it would be, and it wasn't, but it was a solid win for him, and we were doing the same thing to each other. There was a point where when I killed his general, and slightly before that, when he was saying I was overpowered, he's like, "That's it, you won." I'm the same way all the time. I'm like, "No," I told him, like, "No, I still think you have this." And then the game slowly turned and showed that yeah, he definitely had it. So I got kicked by Wood Elves, and hopefully I'll be able to play again next week. I don't know if it'll be fantasy or 40k. Maybe it'll be alternating with these things. I don't know. But next week I'll have my skinks fully painted and ready to go. So now, literally, the box of skinks is 24 models. So I will literally double my army in one box. That's not saying much because skinks are not very good, but they're not supposed to be. Skinks are just they're a horde unit. That's purely what they are. They're like boys or Gretchen. They just horde. So, I will see you guys later, and thanks for listening. And I got kicked by Wood Elves. Bows, man. Frickin' bows. Don't go wandering into the forest unless you're ready to get shot by 1,000 arrows.